Hi everyone, it's Juline Jordan from 94.7 WCSX in the CSX kitchen. Yes, we are here and we've done a few things. We've got a wall of guitars right here, and Tim Krukowski, who is the producer of this show, he played that one when he was in Sponge. He was in Sponge. Yeah, he was the bass player for like 10 years. Anyway, so we are here and we want to welcome and thank our sponsor, the Michigan Apple Committee, because it's apple season and the cider mills are open. Everyone's going and having those beautiful, delicious cake donuts and all of that cider. We have some here. And so we're going to cook with apples for several segments. And today I'll be doing a pork tenderloin with apples and onions. You can tell I've got this heating up right now. So let's get this pork tenderloin, this beautiful pork tenderloin, seasoned with salt and pepper. And we'll do the same on the other side. And you want to generously season, because this is one of your main chances to give it some good flavor. And salt and pepper just brings up the flavor, especially the salt. It's imperative. And a lot of people are worried about too much salt, but I'm not. What can I say? Maybe one day if the doctor tells me I need to be worried about too much salt, I'll be worried about too much salt. But for now, I'm going to continue cooking with it. It's a necessity. And I know some people who don't cook with salt at all. I'm missing out. It's so sad. Okay, so we're going to sear this off on a medium-high heat in this pan that I've heated up. I did canola oil because it's flavorless pretty much. And I didn't want to alter the flavor of the nature of the meat. We're also going to coat this with a grainy French Dijon mustard. And this is a really nice one. And then we'll be packing on some chopped up thyme. So it's a mustard thyme kind of flavor. And then we'll also put that thyme in the apples. So right here, I've cut up 2 Granny Smith apples, Michigan apples, yes. And about 1 medium to large onion. I did julienne slices on those, and we'll put those in after we get this pork in the oven. So we're gonna have a great meal tonight. I also got all the goodies for a nice salad right here. You can see that, got that put together. Those are heirloom tomatoes. And when it's no longer tomato season, you know, tomatoes kind of like, I had a teacher tell me once that you might as well just take a golf ball and paint it red, because that he considers them completely worthless. And I'm kind of with that, but the heirloom tomatoes are grown all year round. They're a little more expensive, as with things like heirlooms and organics and things like that, but it's so worth it. And another hint that I have for you is to prepare the salad. If you have a market like I do that has a salad bar, well, you just go to that salad bar and you get the carrots, the grated carrots and the bacon bits and all of that. And that's what I did today. So I kind of took a little shortcut, and I'm a strong believer in shortcuts because, you know, we're all super busy and, you know, it shouldn't have to take that much time, and you want to have a nice meal. So we're getting a good sear on this. And oh yeah, see that right there? That's a good sear. And so we'll sear both sides, and then we're going to get it in the oven at 425 degrees, and that'll go in there for about 15 minutes. And you want to get up the temperature. Get yourself a little thermometer. This is a nice digital one, and you want it to get up to between 145 and 150, and then you'll let it rest, and so it'll cook a little more. A lot of people are really nervous about pork, but you need not be nervous. That's kind of back then, okay? And this is now. And so you don't need to be that nervous about it. And at 145 to 150, your tenderloin will be a little bit pink inside, but it's okay, trust me. It'll be safe. Just don't have it any below that. And you know, if you go any too much higher, like the most I would say, if you're really nervous about it, would be about 160 degrees. but it might dry out, and you don't want dry pork. You don't want dry meat. You want juiciness. Okay, so we have a real nice sear on that tenderloin. Oh, and another thing I was going to tell you is when you get the tenderloin, there'll be like a white kind of little covering, and that's called silver skin. You want to take a little paring knife and get that off of there because it can be tough. So I did that in preparation for this. And now we are going to let that rest, and we're going to get our apples in the pan. And what's so great about it is you have that fat from the pork tenderloin, so we'll saute in those, and they'll have all of that beautiful flavor. Okay, get those in. We're gonna salt and pepper the apples and the onions. And this is a Granny Smith onion. They're a little more tart. They're my favorite, or Granny Smith apple. They're my favorite apple. They're a little tart, and they're firm. They're more firm, so they're not gonna get real mushy as you cook them, as long as you don't overcook them. And you'll do this just for a couple of minutes and get some nice caramelization on that. All right. Now, while that is happening, I'm going to show you what we're going to do to the pork loin. We are going to take this grainy mustard, and we are going to generously slather it all over that pork. And if you don't like mustard, you don't have to use mustard. You know, you don't have to use anything. You can just do the thyme. You know, you've already seasoned it with the salt and pepper, but this will create a nice crust and beautiful flavor because that thyme and that mustard just goes so well together. So we're really slathering it on there. This is going to be yummy. And the crew here, they're going to eat it all. So there's always a payoff. There's always a payoff, you guys. Okay, so we did that. And we weren't shy about it. Now we're just going to kind of sprinkle some of the thyme and pat it in a little bit. You don't want it to use too much. We were talking before the show. It's pretty strong stuff. It's a strong herb, and you don't want it to be all thyme. You know, you want to have a nice mixture of the two. So always wash your hands, because that's where you can get into trouble. Cross-contamination is just plain gross, and you want to work clean, as always. Okay, so we had the Granny Smiths. I also brought over some other types of apples. You know, there are so many types of apples, and like I said, now is the time to get them. Now is the time for apple season. And if you go to michiganapples.com, or you can go to my section, CSX in the Kitchen, on the WCSX.com. We have a lot of apple recipes at michiganapples.com. I looked through it last night. Tons of that. I mean, you can do desserts, obviously, an apple pie. You can do entrees like this, many sides, salads. They're such a diverse fruit, the apple. And they're so good for you. Apple a day, you know what they say. Okay, another snack I like to have with apples. Remember this, Tim? I told him, put peanut butter on your apple. You just slather it on there. Oh, it is so good. Okay, so we've got this going. And what we're going to do now is turn the heat off, and we're going to put the pork tenderloin right in there, right on top of those apples and onions. Okay? And we've got the oven heated up to 425. Get this all cleaned up. And we're going to stick it in the oven, and we're going to cook it, like I said, for about 15 minutes. But the good news is I have one already done, and we're going to swap that out. Okay, so let's do the switcheroo and see how this looks. Yeah. See it right there? It's beautiful. Oh, can't wait to tear into it. So we'll put this one in and we'll have plenty of food to eat, you guys. And here we go. Now I put that pork on there, so I don't want to use that section. I think I'll move these over. I don't want any of you guys to get sick, because I just love you. Okay, so I'll get a little spatula here. And first we'll take the pork. And you want to let it rest. Now it's been warming and resting in there, so it's probably had enough rest time. And I'm going to plate this up. Beautiful plate. Put that over there. And let's see. Well, you know what? I'm going to do it like this. You want to put the apples and the onions, just a few on the bottom there. And then we are going to slice this pork. Put that over here. Are you hungry? Are you guys hungry? Good. Okay. Let's see. I think I'll use this bread knife. It would be nice to slice through. And let's just get some slices in there. See? Looks good. So we'll slice it. It's still just a little pink. But I trust you. It's cooked properly. It's a little hot. Woo. Okay. Okay. I'll do one more. Okay. We're going to put that right on top and kind of shingle it on top of the apples and the onions. And looky there. Pork tenderloin with apples and onions and thyme and mustard and a whole lot of love and peace and rock and roll. How about that too? How about a bite? Oh yeah, that is moist. Very good. Make this for your family and they're gonna love you forever. Thank you once again to the Michigan Apple Committee. Thanks to my crew. Thanks to WCSX, and I'll see you next time at WCSX.com.